Yes, we've come back today, me and Mickey. Hello, Mickey.
Hello, everybody.
Because basically, Mickey found something. Well, he just likes looking at old things, don't
old
he?
Battersea. Yeah, the old
So we
days.
were looking at old Battersea, and it's quite hard to find, isn't it? Because in all the other pictures, this bit is all built up.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was when we were looking at some of it, it was like it was built up. And now you look at it and it's built down. And we also found something else out that we thought was very, very interesting, and a lot of people might not know. But we'll show it when we carry on in the video. So we'll just let the video play
People
now.
of an older age might know, but our generation.
So we can see here around Battersea when they're getting ready to build all this complex thing, it's actually built down, and you can see this is all built up. But we think that this is hiding the train and everything that was under here, and it's across here. But Mickey seems to think that's more like a building, but we can only find it like this. They blur over it, so we can't see it properly. But Mickey wonders if that's a building.
Where's your circle there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, mud flooder.
Or not just that,
Yeah,
maybe it was
top.
the train station. The pneumatic train station or something.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Or now that is protecting the trains underneath, isn't it?
Because on our later on pictures, you'll see where the ground before this all was dug out.
Yeah, it is higher.
It was level with a train track almost. Yeah. And you see there, it's got quite a few good old.
But we can't show it any better than that because, and then on top here is the train. That's the train up there.
Like that road bit on top of it. You know, it's very. It's just caught my eye, you know.
Anyway, Battersea Power Station. It looks enormous, doesn't it? But it's not as big as you think it is. They always do this.
And not as cheap as you thought it was.
No, they always try to make it look like it's much bigger than it really is. I'm not saying it's a really small building, but it's not as big as you think it is. Because they always go, they just make it look really big. Anyway, it is on some kind of circle. And I wondered whether it was a cyclorama that was originally there because of this circle it's on. But Mickey thinks that there's obviously stuff underneath and it's collapsing.
I say that.
Which is why they dug it out.
Yeah. So it got a little bit more deeper.
Anyway, they've actually finished this power station, which right now we're going to stick in the lady that's talking about it. So you can see they finished it and it's all these apartments, it's all been built up.
From the 6 million bricks and 51 metre high chimneys behind me will be a mixture of commercial and residential space. Now, if you haven't already guessed, from the 6 million bricks and 51 metre high chimneys behind me.
Don't you think it's really weird when she says 6 million bricks? What, is that 6 million bricks with the second bit?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
And a bit of tarting up on the first one to make the first and the second one look exactly the same. Did they put another layer of bricks around the whole thing to make it all look...
But I think
6 million, is that 6 million bricks for the first one? Or 6 million bricks for the second one, or the first one and the second one?
Well, if you look at the Starfall takes 21 million bricks, red bricks, to make a Starfall. Yeah. Like,
do you think some of that is stone?
No, it's brick, but I think it's more bricks than they're saying.
We also know that now that the thing in the old pictures isn't as tall as it is now because they've dug down, exposing the bit you see in your bit.
It's a mud flood. And they covered over the rest of the buildings. They made train tracks going on. Because I keep wondering why I'm above the ground where I come from the south, and I'm above all the houses when I'm getting through to Clapham Junction, where the tracks are above ground, you know, to where you're looking down through people's windows. And then when I'm coming up to Battersea, to Victoria, I'm looking down at Battersea. How's that? When really I should be flat, level with the tide.
But I did explain to you, with your bomb map, because it's Mickey that found the map showing all the bombs that were supposed to have gone off in London, if there was that many holes everywhere, you can see where they went, too many holes, just go across the top with roads, and everybody says, oh look, mud flooders now, when really they've built all the roads up because of the bombs, and the bombs couldn't have been very big because they didn't destroy all the buildings.
Just leave big holes.
We've got a new transport plan. Bomb England, and we can have our new roads.
Yeah, if you wish.
But you know what I find really... We're getting back to this in a minute, and I do appreciate her. She's trying to sell property.
Oh, yeah.
And the £9 million it costs to get a flat there.
9.1.
They are quite nice, aren't they, though? Because we were looking at her video.
You'd think we were living in a factory, though.
Beautiful views.
Yeah, but...
It does have nice views when you're up in the higher flats, apartments. Sorry, no, they're not called flats. They're called apartments.
Oh, yes. Really good.
Yeah. So, what does that mean? Apart from everyone else, keep apart.
Yeah, keep apart.
Yeah, but she does explain a bit of history, but that's the history that they've been told, or she's found out, or whatever it is, and that's what she's been asked to read. I mean, I actually wondered whether it was built on a pyramid. You know, it goes up.
For me...
You know, in the old pictures, you went up to the power station, and now you go down. Now it's down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's another crazy thing where, if you look at the front of Battersea Station, it actually has a really grand green opening. Yeah, very like green, like a stately house. And I noticed that most places in London with these stately house looking by the Thames will have this massive green part before you got to the house. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look like a stately. I thought that looked more. When it was with two chimneys, it looked like a workhouse.
Yeah, it's your assumption.
It's an assumption, yeah. But we're all assumptions. Everything's an
I
assumption,
know,
Ricky.
but it's the truth.
But it doesn't with four.
But I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
And the really, really weird thing is that when you actually look up a tiny bit of history, it was electric. And they destroyed it.
Everything around it is the tubes and trains.
Do you know what? We really need to just go and march on the BBC and go and get them.
We've discussed that many a time.
Yes, anyway, we're going to move on now, but we found her very interesting. Just the bit she said, and she's in her video, which you can find on there, I suppose. She shows you around the. Yeah, it's all. It does look quite nice now. It's better than leaving it the way it was. But why was it abandoned in the first place? Really, come on. What for? We're moving on. We're far more sophisticated now.
Well.
Anyway, next bit.
What once lay derelict and abandoned for over 40 years is now being given a new lease of life and is full of vibrant shops, restaurants, bars, commercial space, offices and new homes, creating a new destination in London. Construction began in 1929 to build a power station that would eventually power a fifth of London, including the Houses of Parliament and Buckingham Palace. So the location, we are south of the river, next to Vauxhall and across the river from Chelsea. So this location is amazing. The development is full of history, but you might be asking about the transport. No need to worry, they've covered that too. We are on the Battersea Power Station Underground line, which is on the Northern Line. And this has been created especially for the development. We are also right on the river, so we are on the Thames Path, which gives you great routes for running, cycling and also walking.
So right in the middle of finding this bit where this woman is promoting Battersea Power Station now as refurbished with loads more accommodation and shops and all this stuff going on, do we now find this? This is Bob Hopkins. I think he's probably dead now. I think he did die a few good years ago. But anyway, let's listen to a bit of what he says.
On Good Friday there, Bob, you had that diatribe about what they were doing to London. Now, how much of that was the actor and how much of that was Bob Hoskins expressing his own beliefs?
Well, I thought it was going over the top. I thought it was all sort of, you know, fairyland. But after finding out what's been going on down here, that makes the Long Good Friday look like a story out of Winnie the Pooh.
Well, what is going on?
Well, that, for example, look at that. bleeding great Mars bar on the Thames. But there's sort of...
An office block, actually, but still.
Yeah, it's a Mars bar. But there's £1,200 million worth of redevelopment going to go on right the way down the river. The whole lot. Right? You imagine that. The whole thing's up for grabs. Makes the 60s sort of redevelopment epidemic look like a little rash. You see that building there?
Yeah.
Now, between there and here, there's going to be a bleeding great block of offices that's going to go up in between us. And that's just a fraction of the mile-long slab of buildings that will change the face of Waterloo and the river there.
Well, what we've got here, Bob, is the Coin Street car park, but it looks like the oldest bomb site in London.
Well, it wasn't bombed.
What happened?
Well, they pulled that down for the Festival of Britain in 1951. That's how it's been ever since. You know, look at it.
Well, what was here before?
Houses. People used to live here. You know.
Well, what happened to the people?
Well, they've stacked them all up in concrete blocks. They've left all this totally open for property developers to make a fortune out of spaces that used to be people's homes. Listen, last year, London spent £12.5 million on homeless people, right?
Yeah.
£2 million in Lambeth alone.
Yeah.
Look at it. Right next to Coin Street is this example of what happens if you don't consult the local people. In 1970, a huge property group said they'd build flats, shops and a hotel, not to mention a riverside walk, if they could have a great tower for one of their companies to put their staff in, handy for their head office next door. Well, once they got the tower up, the company brass pushed off down to Surrey. Their building was sold off and the new owners are now doing it up a bit to let it. And now they say they're going to move out of the tower as well. So because of that 1970 planning decision, we've got a bit of the South Bank which, far from having new life, feels and looks completely dead. The hotel has never been finished, let alone occupied. They've gradually been turning it into offices. And last month they had to have another inquiry to see if the whole thing could become an office block, just in case those two weren't enough for this bit of the river. They'll be making their minds up about that any time now. And take the flats. They're far too pricey for people who live around here and want somewhere to live. And despite all the trade they could be getting from all those office workers commuting in every day, they've had a real job letting a space for the shopping arcade. There are blank concrete walls there even now. These blokes have just moved in. And the one thing that everybody wanted, the riverside walk, that's been shut right off. It's not easy to get to see the Thames these days.
Well, what it is this is Bob Hopkins talking to Barry Norman in an ominous version in the 1980s. And the quality of this video isn't the best, but even though he was probably one of them, he's an actor, I liked what he was saying, and it fits into our video because this is what they've been doing to Battersea. Yeah. So he says they let it run down for a while and someone buys it up and then they regenerate it. But look at this building. I mean, this is the water level here and the building is under the water here, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit like Venice, isn't it?
Or like a lot of these buildings we're finding. Anyway, none of this stuff is probably there anymore now. They've knocked all this down. I mean, God only knows what they've knocked down in the cause of building a new accommodation, and we would rather have lived in things, well, not that exactly on the river, but we would have rather lived in the old buildings done up. And there's loads of buildings in this they could have done up as flats, especially as they did Battersea up.
That one looks like it's got scaffolding, so it might still be there. You're lucky if it is, though.
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to add this bit because, unfortunately, Bob Hopkins is saying the right thing.
Yeah, he's spilling a bit of truth there, I think.
Yeah.
Especially with the time now, what we're seeing all around.
Well, it's happening now.
Exactly.
They've just done it to Battersea.
Crazy.
Can you imagine what they've got? Oh, it's just...
You've got to see it. It's just...
Yeah. Anyway, we've done that bit and we've added that bit.
Yeah. You were going to show me the river. Where's that then?
Well, it's just behind that wall, but...
Well, how'd you get there?
Well, the developers have locked most of it off. We might be able to... You into a bit of housebreak, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right, well,
my former trade.
Well, if we break into this warehouse, we might be able to get through to the other side.
There's a lovely view of the river from here. I mean, it's just over there, is it?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, there's a door over here.
Let's go in.
Right.
So far, so good.
Bob, no sign of the fuzz yet?
Well, don't worry, son, if we get nicked, there's a site for the old Clink prison round the corner. There you
are. Oh, the river.
Yes.
God, at last.
Yeah. This is St Mary over his wharf. In a couple of weeks or so, Heseltine's got to decide whether this lot's coming down. Another office block to match that. Mars bar on the other side of the inlet there. Oh, yeah, see that?
Yeah.
That inlet, it's a medieval inlet, I'll show you.
What, down here?
Yeah, this bit here. Look at it. A few years ago, the building that was there burnt down. For the first time in, what, half a century, you could see Southwark Cathedral from the other side of the Thames. Before you could say planning permission, they started putting that lot up.
You mean before they actually got planning permission?
Nah, they got it, all right. That's not hard, is it? As long as you don't want to build houses. That's the way it seems to me, anyway.
There's a distinct spices and curry around here, Bob. Have you noticed?
Yeah. You still smell the old spices they used to store here.
These are smashing, these buildings, aren't these old warehouses?
Yeah.
Great.
We got to remember, though, Barry, is that London always had a really practical attitude towards the river. This is where they worked. You know, they worked here and they lived round the back. People still live round the back there, a few of them, in the most appalling conditions possible. It's all waiting for the property developer to tear down their house. And no one maintains their houses. And they're living in the most atrocious conditions.
This is your back garden, Bob. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, look at it. Right blight. Do you know there's more derelict land now than there was at the height of the Blitz?
Really? What, along this part of London?
Absolutely, yeah. The report on your wharf,
Yeah.
they said that Riverside sort of land was totally inappropriate or unfit for family housing.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Well, you see that, there's a tower there, there's a city there. You know, it's far too important for ordinary people. You know, it's sterilised by greed. That's what the Thames is.
And right across there, of course, you've got Wapping, haven't you?
Now, that's another story. All along there, they've got a load of warehouses right on the river. They've got workshops and light industry in there. And they're all getting turfed out because they're going to turn those warehouses into luxury flats, right? Then they're going to run a road right the way through the middle of it, like separating sort of the water people, the rich Wapping who live by the river, and the poor Wapping who live on the other side of the road. It's called regenerating the river, you know. So bringing it back to life, sort of making it a playground for the wealthy.
Let's go back and have a look at Coy Street. We'll go back across your garden, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them having a
Lovely
few daps round by the border there.
I think you need something, Bob.
You like the rockery?
The rockery's good, yes. A few plants would help.
God, it's awful, isn't it? Terrible. Well, look what you could build here. Look at it. It's a prime site.
Yeah.
Imagine living here.
I suppose this is a part of London that a lot of people don't even know exists. A walkway straight down to the river.
Absolutely. Look at it. If the locals get their way, everybody's going to have the benefit of that. Tourists, everybody. Well, if they get their way, all this is coming down and... Wallet, look at that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this is where London grew up, around the Thames. London is what it is because of the people that lived here.
Giving it what it is now.
But they've dug all the land here. They've dug it all out. This is now not. It's dug down, and there's another building on top of here, so you can't really see this so well.
Totally buried it. Yeah.
When they were doing this, they were constructing it. So Mickey saw this bit at the back there and just wondered what it was.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I caught it before they changed it. You know. And yeah. It's a bit
What does it look like to you? Metal or?
Well, I thought that at the start, but when I looked around most of the site, I could see the iron structures that keep the wall back, and they were like modern day. But when it came round to here, this was just a bit too uniformed and neat looking. You know, straight along this wall. You know, right along underneath it.
So that building could be a lot bigger underneath the ground.
Well, a little bit more deeper, yeah.
But we did find
got
some
underground
interesting things
stations
out there,
outside.
didn't we? Which we're going to show in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyway, this guy, so basically, these people, they're taking trips to Battersea and just go past that building, and I thought that was quite amazing. And there's the London Eye. And that's not very far from Parliament, which is just over here.
Over the water. The old sick house.
Well, we go over there. You can see that the area buildings just along here, and there's that as well.
Left out of the war.
Yeah, surprised they didn't get that one in the war as well. Floss! Picky! Picking the dog up.
Time you pick her up.
Anyway, we saw this bridge and it's like, isn't it amazing that it's stone with metal on top?
Yep. There's quite a few ornaments on them.
And there's Bollywood. Bollywood.
Yeah, very good.
If only they realised it was Bollywood. But I still think it's an amazing. That's a bit like Highclere Castle. Same effect Highclere Castle is. It's just not quite as big as that, but it's got more. It's just like that. Oops, my thing's in the way. But yeah, I just another building. You said, what was it? Secret Intelligence Service MI6 building. Great. We noticed this bridge with it's got like statues on it. It's got them up there and in the middle. And then there's one the other side, yeah. We don't know how old they are. And then again, it's stone underneath, isn't it? With the bridge on the top. And then they're stopping at Battersea and sheds around and all the arches and they're all shops.
And it's sort of like well have been a part of that building, but lower. These arches was those buildings as you go along it further towards Battersea Station. Those tunnels are now.
And this video I found very interesting, where they're explaining Battersea Power Station, London, England, the first part of which was completed in 1939. I haven't read it fast enough. Anyway, hopefully everybody just can read that. It's just explaining a bit of information, and then we saw it on here as well, and we went, "Wow, no!"
Building New York skyscrapers.
Floss just won't leave Mickey alone, will you?
She loves you.
Then we noticed it here. There you go. So it said there was an original one, and you only, I've got to stop this, in 1955. See, a bit of there's Twin Towers.
Yeah, crikey.
And so from 1953 to 1955, a second B identical from the outside was constructed along the original and then became known as Power Station A. This gave the power station its familiar chimney layout. But it doesn't look so impressive as two chimneys, does it? And then they built an identical one, which you couldn't tell the difference between either one of them, and put it into four. But this was an electric power station feeding London.
So why would it be that small with two chimneys? So before that, who was it powering?
There it is. How many people knew that Battersea Power Station really only had two chimneys? And then they built. And this is the other thing which I'm going to moan about now because I'm in the moaning stage. They closed this down in the 1980s and left it derelict for 40, 50 years before people have now bought it and done it up. So they spent all this money building another half a power station on and putting all that equipment on to give, 30 years of service. And then they closed it down, only 30 years. What is going on? That doesn't add up, does it?
No.
That is disgusting yet again. Sorry, it's disgusting because we're just finding these things out, and you only find this when you start researching. But this guy is right. 30 years of service. They spent all that money. The woman has already explained how many bricks are in it, and that probably isn't true. It's probably double the amount of bricks in it.
She said 6 million bricks.
It's probably 12 million. And then we don't know how much of it is still underground. See, that's... Mickey wanted to see the other side. It's all side, whatever it is, some structure there. But this side, it's arches. And there it is. And this was just in the 1950s. That's what it looked like. So how many people knew it was two chimneys?
Buried as well, doesn't it?
And inside, look at that, I think we go back, that's it. Inside the design high point was main control from where it's Art Deco panel ceilings and whatever that is, parquet flooring. I missed the rest. So they're saying the Art Deco bit was very refined, marble arches and decorated floors. That's crossing it.
Just
It
the
almost,
power station,
yeah, there it is. And we found it with 3 chimneys, didn't we? And that might be it. But we found it with 3, not 4. So obviously they were building it or whatever. It's hard to know now because it only gave 30 years of life. So basically it was also picked to go on Pink Floyd's album cover. But someone stuck a real one up there and they said the only way to get it down was to sharpshooter, had to get it out of the sky. So there you go, that's that one. But that's just a little bit of trivia. Yes, and this is it. And when they derelict it, they destroyed half of it. They took all the ceiling and the roof off and everything. Whoever's bought it has had to put it all back. So there you go, that's quite a lot. I'm going to stop that there for people to read a minute. That's quite a lot of interesting information there. And it explains that it's electric. And there you go. In 1980, the station was declared a heritage site. In 1983, production at the station being ended. 1980, so one side of it had ended anyway, and oh, there you go, 1980. So it didn't even give 30 years of service after they stuck the extra bit on and spent all that money doing that. Anyway, I hope everybody's read that. I find that very interesting. Actually, I just think it's terrible, to be honest, that we're lied to so much, and that this starts off with 2. I think we've got a picture coming up where there's 3 chimneys on it, not 4.
Didn't get bombed in the war, did it?
No, closed in 1980. The building was bought by developer John Broome. And there it is again. But we were trying to get these pictures of behind it to see. But what it is the reason that Mickey was questioning it is they've now dug out all this part. They've dug all this out. So this used to go up to it, and now you go. I mean, you can probably see it. It's not as big, is it, as you think it is?
You can see it's in the ground as well, mud flood.
So now it's taller than it was because they've put another couple of floors out of the ground back.
So you take all that green away, it drops another good.
Which was what we were watching on Google at the beginning. So at the beginning we showed that there it is with 2 chimneys. I never knew that. That's not anything they promote, is it? They don't promote it.
Deliberately built out there.
Yeah, there it is. We still didn't get to see because, see, wait a second, let's stop it there. When you look at it now, it looks like you go up to it. And then what it is now this has all become, because this was buildings, that's why. And then it's all been grassed over, and then what it is because obviously now it's got the 4 chimneys on it, and then to do all the work on this, they've dug it out and dug it down, and then that's where Mickey could see all the bit underneath here.
That's right, yeah.
Under here. But that, you go up to it. So what do you know what this is? Was it a pyramid? Is that a pyramid?
No, I'm saying it looks like a step pyramid with the train tracks along the side.
Yeah.
But it's literally in the ground. It's a mud flood. Everything around it was buried.
And I said to you, when you look at that, without the other chimneys on it, was that a workhouse?
It's covered over.
Do you think that was a workhouse?
Oh God, yeah, with you saying that, yeah. Yeah. They're those dark ones.
Yeah, anyway, let's move on. Because there it is with 2 chimneys.
Remember the Chelsea, the Chelsea
So
ones on the other side.
That was just another old view of London, but I like it. I just hope they're real. There it is again with 2 chimneys.
All up, all raised.
Because I never knew that. There it is with 4. I'm sure we've got a picture with 3.
Yeah, I think we showed that one.
I don't know. It's just I'm just amazed that they see. It's only 1, 2, 3. It's only 4 or 5 floors up.
There's your 3.
Now I'm going back there to show you. 1 second. Let's go back here. Look. 1, 2, 3. There's only so many floors there. It's bigger now because they've dug it out. They've made another few floors on it. Yeah, look at all those. Oh, there it is with 3 chimneys. Let's stop it there. Stop. Does that look like they were going to build another chimney?
They've stapled that one on the right, that building there. I mean, that's all stapled basically.
Does that look like they were building another chimney? No. So what's that about? What's that about then? So now it's got 3 chimneys there, so what is that about? Mickey, what's that about? What's it about?
It's about, I don't know.
It's a bit hard to explain, that one, isn't it? They've got no intention. You can see or maybe they're trying to show it because they haven't finished it off like this one. It needs to look like this on the other side. But would you do it like that, Mickey? Would you? It doesn't even like.
I don't like.
Print of Battersea Power Station, 1935. It's just know what's the truth and what's not the truth anymore. But we found that picture, yeah.
I wouldn't miss that of a Zeppelin. Or Spitfire.
Back to 4.
That'd actually be my main hit in the war. Get that infrastructure out.
That could be a pneumatic train station.
Yeah, got the power in there for it.
But they did say that it was powering quite a lot of London, so it's a bit weird to think that why they wouldn't. So where does it get powered from now then?
I don't know why they buried it all.
And then these are still the wrong pictures because that's the other side of the bridge that Mickey wants to see the other side, but here you can see it's all tunnels.
Yeah, that carries on. It carries on to the bridge. But on the other side of that is the building.
And there it is.
Back arches.
This is only about 6 years ago. Do excuse the music is a little bit faster in the next bit because we've tried to beat the copyright thing and put this tiny bit of video in. This was filmed in 2011 or something like that. It's gone. This stuff isn't there anymore, but the equipment. Let's watch. Yeah.
And if it's from that past, it's, as we see there with these small generators, you think, well, if they're that size, how much are you pumping out of electric?
Like, we'll never know that because we're putting this bit extra in to break this video up, but we'll never know the truth. But where did we go today? Today we went to London to pick my daughter up from the airport, and every mile or two, how many masks did we see?
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
And people haven't realised yet. There's no satellites; they go from mask to mask.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Google Maps.
So people believe it goes to a satellite when it doesn't. So you can see how they're going to lie about all these buildings.
Yeah. It's very sad. But then people get paid for putting them on their land, don't they?
Those things.
They can say no, but they don't.
But not Battersea Power Station. That's what we're talking about. But I was just trying to equate it. But anyway, we're going to move on now because you've just put this bit of video in to break up that bit of video. Yeah.
The band a bit. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, Karen.
It is destroyed really here, but it wasn't completely destroyed.
Taking the tech out of it, that's what it is.
Train station. Is that Victoria train station there? Is it? Well, just across the... But it's the wrong time because they've dug it out. Yeah, they dug it out to do... Anyway, now they've rebuilt it and this is them rebuilding it. But the video's finishing now. We just wanted to show Battersea Power Station originally only had 2 chimneys. And then they built the other one exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's almost like something else was there, the same, and then this is... It's like we're living in some sort of... It's finishing now, but I can't explain it. What are we living in? Some sort of fantasy land? Or I don't know. It's like...
We're living on
that was one reality, and now we're in another one. Nikki.
Thank you, Karen.
Nikki, thank you. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
It's been quite hard putting this away, isn't it? Because Mickey, but I'm not doing any more now, Mickey.
Okay.
But Mickey's so sure that he feels that it's some kind of structured building or whatever. Oh yes, 3 towers. Oh, and there's that being made.
Vanilla Sky.
There's only 3 towers on that thing. Anyway, these are some of the buildings in the areas. These are some of the, this is all Battersea. Oh, 3 towers on that one. And it doesn't look so good with all the steam coming out, does it? But it's steam, it's not, well, I suppose it might have chemicals. That's a building in there. It's raining, doesn't it? more steam and but they did say, was it going to be good to have that in London? But they still built it there, and then they built another part on, and then they got rid of it. But here we're looking at the bridges. We're just, even if they're drawings, we just wanted to see what was actually there before the power station was there. But we didn't really find it, did we? We didn't really find what was there. We found a couple of pictures. Oh yeah, and there's that, and that's a water griever, Old Battersea Bridge, water griever. Maybe that's the person who took it. But just some of the buildings. I mean, you said it was a bit like a ghetto, didn't you?
Yeah. Victorian ghetto.
And then we found these old pictures. Some of them were old. Well, they're like the 50s. The power station is there, but this is what it looked like with some of the Tartaria left. And you don't know if it goes down a lot further. Anyway, that was one of the only pictures we found.
It's only down the bottom here where your circles, I think.
Yeah, that's
the buildings that we're seeing under the ground. The square outlines.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've gone back. Damn, we're up here.
Like time to...
Sorry, I've put the thing back. That's the only one we found. And I mean, that looks... That just is Tartaria. That's them supposedly building the bridge.
Yeah.
Still can't see Battersea there, but we're really struggling. Everywhere they go, they just don't look where Battersea was, or when you're at Battersea, they don't look where Mickey wanted to look on the... We found that on a map,
That's
but...
the Battersea Park.
That's where it is, but there's just... Maybe is there a church in the middle?
Well, it's a shame we could get any closer. But it's just...
Well, we did blow it up, but we really didn't see anything. And then what's that? Is that an old windmill? They've just taken the...
Very strange. Never seen one like that before.
Now that one is Battersea. There's no power station there.
On the left there.
And then we saw this part of London where they're destroying it. And this says Victorian buildings, and they're destroying it. Why?
Really solid, don't
That's 1973. That's Covent Gardens. There you are, columns. That's Covent Garden in 1973. There you are. What's that? Ding, 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 ding. Oh, everybody will know that if they watched it, Cohen Son. But even that wasn't real either. They were even superimposed in the videos. I did that one. Anyway, we're just looking around. We're looking at pictures, some different pictures of us destroying it as they love doing. But we didn't actually find the bits we wanted to. It's actually very hard. But we have brought up a few things here, and we've shown you some other stuff. So, yeah. Thank you again, Mickey.
Thank you, Karen. Exposing the truth.
All in the pub smoking. All in the drunk.
Good old days.
I think I cut it off now, yeah. But that's the park thing. So that was news to me, was the park.
3 chimneys again.
The Battersea, yeah. And there it is with 3 chimneys again, you're right.
Yeah.
And that just seems silly.
Which
2
is fine.
chimneys, 3 chimneys, then 4 chimneys. It's like we're living in different realities or something.
And we needed more power.
Were you in the 2 chimney reality, or the 3 chimney reality, or the 4 chimney reality? Which reality were you in?
I'm in the 4th dimension. The 4 chimneys.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Mickey.
Towers of power.
Mickey,
Thank
I'll
you,
finish.
Karen. God bless you all. Take care.